Friends, this is something really incredible. It's perhaps the biggest news of this year related to both keto and carnivore diet followers.
After long, tiring research, the first ever science-backed carnivore food pyramid is here, and it is already causing some huge shakeups in the world of health and nutrition. Experts are saying that there is an incredible science behind this revolutionary development. Some extraordinary health benefits are being associated with this new carnivore paradigm. Plus, it is busting some long-prevailing myths which have distorted everything related to our diet and metabolic health outcomes. So what exactly is this new low-carb carnivore food pyramid? How can we switch from our existing eating approach to this new structure? And what do some critics from Harvard have to say about this whole scenario? There is so much exciting to be unraveled in this exclusive video. Let's jump in.
As outlined in a very recent review published in Nutrients Journal, the Carnivore Food Pyramid entirely flips the conventional nutrition wisdom on its head. It has been developed by an international coalition of low-carb practitioners determined to align dietary guidelines with modern science and our ancestral eating patterns. It stands in stark contrast to the old USDA food pyramid most of us grew up with. The original food pyramid, introduced in the 1970s, which most of us are accustomed to, infamously based our diets on 6 to 11 servings of bread, cereal, rice, and pasta per day, relegating meats and fats to tiny slivers at the top. The Carnivore Food Pyramid, by contrast, is built on the idea of our metabolic health first. It strongly emphasizes the foods that kept our ancestors healthy and lean for millennia, including fatty meats, fish, eggs, and natural animal fats. It demotes or outright eliminates the processed carbohydrates and industrial oils that only recently infiltrated the human diet. In essence, this is a food pyramid grounded in our evolution and metabolism, rather than just food industry lobbying. It's a guide meant to optimize our health, not to sell the unhealthy processed food items.
So friends, how exactly this new pyramid looks like? Let's find out. Well, the Carnivore Food Pyramid literally flips traditional dietary guidelines on their head. Here are the layers of this new low-carb ketogenic food pyramid. Firstly, the base, its largest tier, consists of animal proteins and fats. We have ruminant meats like beef, bison, lamb, and venison as the foundation of optimal nutrition. These red meats are packed with complete protein, bioavailable iron, zinc, B vitamins, and healthy fats. Above that, the next tier features non-ruminant animal foods, including poultry, pork, and seafood like fish and shellfish. These provide variety and additional nutrients like omega-3 fats from cold water fish, while still being very low in carbohydrates. One step further up the pyramid, you'll find eggs and dairy, especially fermented, full-fat dairy like cheese or yogurt, if tolerated. Eggs are often called nature's multivitamin for their broad nutrient profile, and dairy can provide calcium and probiotics, though the pyramid advises that each individual decide if dairy works for them. At the very peak of this pyramid is a small optional tier of low-carbohydrate plant foods, primarily non-starchy vegetables and fruits. These might include avocados, olives, and berries. Importantly, this top tier is optional and minimal. Many followers of an animal-based diet may skip plant foods altogether, especially those on a strict carnivore regimen. Finally, outside of the pyramid entirely is the category of foods to avoid. This includes refined sugars, grains, and seed oils. These are the very items the old food pyramid encouraged, but the new model pointedly casts out as nutritionally unnecessary or even detrimental. Well, while we have had an idea of what the new carnivore food pyramid looks like, but the most crucial thing is yet to come. But before moving ahead into the crucial details, we would like to know, which diet plan are you following these days? Carnivore, keto, or some other diet plan? And how has been your experience so far? Do share your journey in the comments. And do hit that subscribe button, helping us spread this message further.
Now, moving to the most crucial part of this video. Because the Carnivore Food Pyramid challenges decades of conventional dietary advice, it inevitably confronts several long-standing nutrition myths. One of the core motivations behind this publication in Nutrients was to rigorously confront these misconceptions using current clinical evidence, evolutionary insights, and metabolic science. And here are the most prominent myths systematically dismantled by this paradigm-shifting dietary model. Myth number 1. Saturated fats and red meat will clog our arteries. For decades, saturated fat has been scapegoated as the primary dietary culprit behind cardiovascular disease. However, rigorous modern analyses have failed to confirm this association. A 2020 review published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology concluded that there is no significant evidence supporting the reduction of saturated fat to improve cardiovascular outcomes or decrease mortality. In low-carb and ketogenic contexts, saturated fat metabolism operates differently. When carbohydrates are minimized, insulin levels drop and the body becomes more efficient at oxidizing fats for energy. This metabolic shift prevents fat accumulation and reduces systemic inflammation. Numerous studies show that low-carb diets, often higher in saturated fat, produce favorable changes in cardiovascular markers, lowered triglycerides, increased HDL cholesterol, reduced small dense LDL particles, which are the most atherogenic, and lowered blood pressure. Importantly, while LDL cholesterol may rise in some individuals, recent evidence suggests that this alone is not a sufficient predictor of heart disease when inflammation and insulin resistance are absent. The Carnivore Pyramid unapologetically reinstates red meat and saturated fat as vital and health-promoting foods, not dietary villains. Moving to myth number 2, we need fiber and plants for a healthy gut. The assumption that dietary fiber, especially from plant sources, is indispensable for gastrointestinal health is not supported by emerging evidence. Fiber is commonly believed to promote bowel regularity, but studies show that its elimination may actually improve symptoms like constipation and bloating in sensitive individuals. Carnivore-style diets, by eliminating fermentable carbohydrates and plant anti-nutrients, often reduce bloating, stabilize gut motility, and improve symptoms of GERD and IBS. A 2023 clinical trial published in Lancet Gastroenterology and Hepatology found that a low-carb diet was just as effective as a low FODMAP diet in treating IBS, suggesting that carbohydrate reduction, not fiber intake, is the more significant factor. And most crucially, myth number 3, high-protein diets harm kidney function. The fear that a high-protein diet will damage the kidneys originates from misinterpretations of renal physiology, particularly in the context of chronic kidney disease, or CKD. However, in individuals with normal kidney function, there is no evidence that increased protein intake causes harm. Recent studies demonstrate that carbohydrate restriction in diabetic patients not only improves blood sugar control, a critical factor in slowing kidney disease progression, but may also stabilize or improve renal markers. It is hyperglycemia and chronic inflammation, not protein per se, that drive most kidney complications. The Carnivore Pyramid, by eliminating high glycemic foods and emphasizing metabolic control, presents a nutritionally and clinically safer alternative for renal health than traditional carbohydrate-heavy diets.
Regarding what Harvard has done to its own findings on the carnivore diet, we shall discuss that in our next video. Meanwhile, subscribe to our channel so we could reach out to more and more people with this healing message. Share this video with your friends and loved ones, and do tell us about your health journey in the comments. And there are some crazy findings of the first ever carnivore study conducted almost 100 years ago. Click the video showing up on the screen to find out how it affects us even today.